They said Gray paved the way, changed the rain, released the pain, least you sane, getting paid, trend setting, brighter days, doper rap, tighter sets, high in Delhi, I'm a fighter jet, journey.
Did you see the balloons? Did you see the balloons?
I was about to say, Muppets left off with the balloons. Happy Friday, even though we're doing all these on Monday, but we'll drop this one on Friday. Gentlemen, the one thing we left off was Bumaye Fight Club, which I got to make a graphic. I'll throw that into the chat real quick. AJ Francis and Alex Kane, the big homie. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. If this was a political podcast, we would be pro Alex Kane in here. I'm a fan of AJ Francis, but we support the big homie. It is what it is. You guys can talk this whole match. You guys can do whatever you want to do. All I want to say is whose mans is these Bumaye Fight Club people? Like, who are these people? It ain't Bougie. It ain't, I think the lady's name is Faye Jackson.
Yep.
It ain't Mr. Thomas.
Oh,
who the fuck are these people? Whose mans is these?
Well, this was a good match. Let's just say that it was a good match.
It was a good match.
He came out with the usual crew. Mr. Thomas was there, and a bunch of guys who usually will come out with him when he does his entrance, and usually they leave to the back because usually it's always just Mr. Thomas and like you say, Faye Jackson. But this guy decided to stay out there this time around. Okay, match was good. It did his shit. Both guys killed it. My question is, one, who the hell was the referee? I've never seen him there in AEW before.
Oh, the paid off ref?
Yeah, the ref. I've never seen that guy in AEW before.
Yeah.
And then we get the fastest count in wrestling. And I'm like, whoa, hold on.
Was that faster than the Bret Hart?
I want to say maybe a tie. Maybe could have been, he could have been El Hebner's uncle. Because the guy looks older than El Hebner, so he could have been his uncle or old cousin or something. But this was crazy. And then they're talking about, it could be Mr. Thomas, switching sides. It could be somebody else. And then it turns out to be those four morons who've been outside doing nothing. They're like, okay, this makes no damn sense whatsoever. So now you need to tell me he took his crew from Kane or the hyped up guys. There's nobody we know. Like, who cares?
Like what Rob has been saying for the longest. It's Bougie, O'Shea Edwards, who's only had 2 matches, Mr. Thomas, that's got a handful, and Faye Jackson just seems like the homie that's always ringside supporting the peoples, right? Like, that's it. These bozos, no one ever seen them. They don't even got names. They've never even been addressed as the
Bumaye. No, they do have names.
Who?
Sendai Death Squad number 1, Sendai Death Squad number 2, Sendai Death Squad number 3.
But it's Bumaye Fan 2, Bumaye in Training 3, Bumaye in Training 1776.
Rob,
they're all hoes in training.
Yes. I gotta ask you, because I know me and Muffins definitely are old enough to remember the even though we're not from 1966, but the old Batman series, the Penguin had Goon 1, Goon 2, Goon 3. Is this an MLW thing?
I can't think of a singular wrestling company off the top of my head that has had so many nameless schools. I think the only thing right now going that has more nameless schools to it is the band Ghost.
Yeah,
I cover this and I go on a whole tirade because that's what I do as a professional neckbeard about things don't mean anything unless you give them turns don't mean anything unless you give meaning to them first. There was no reason to be emotionally invested in these guys because we'd never seen them before. Again, this would mean something if it was Mr. Thomas. Even if the guys that we haven't seen in forever, like Bougie, Shug D, or O'Shea Edwards, like even that would have made a little bit more of an impact because we've invested time into seeing them before. Instead, we have these nameless scrubs who just show up and then just stand with Flop Dollar at the end of it. So I don't.
Is this a thing? Is this what we're gonna do here? We're gonna keep calling them Flop Dollar?
Oh yeah, that's what I do.
Wow.
But like, yeah, there was no emotional investment in those Bomayes, so it meant nothing to me when they turned. Like I use the example on the podcast that basically it was the equivalent of me going like, "Hey everybody, listen to my podcast," and so everyone around me is listening to my podcast, and like, "Oh, it's okay." And then as soon as it's over, they switch to the Car Subject to Change podcast, and then and then I'm sitting here going, "Curse you, the wizard CZ! You have stolen my fans!" But they weren't my fans to begin with. They were just people listening to my podcast. Like that's what this was. These were just people that happened to hang out with Alex Kane. I don't know. Maybe they're having some protein shakes or something before the match, and they just decide, "Cool, let's go hang out." Like there was no reason for me to go like. There's no reason for me as a fan to be angry at those guys for being disloyal when they've done nothing to show their loyalty before that. Like, yeah. And then, the match itself, like backtracking a bit, going off that tirade, the match itself was fine. Like, there was nothing wrong with the match. It told actually a very good story. Like, so I will give props to Francis for that, even though I'm usually very highly critical of his in-ring work. But like overall, it told a very good story, especially with how it took Kane for Bloody Ever to hit a suplex on Dollar because he's actually huge. The only thing like about the match I didn't like was actually the ending. I felt the ref thing was way too much because they already got the low blow. They got the interference from Saint Laurent, and let's face it, Francis's chokeslam was pretty darn vicious. Like there was really like it wouldn't have hurt Kane to not kick out of that chokeslam with a regular count. And Francis actually referenced that on Twitter when him and Kane were going back and forth about the referee and the finish of the match. And I will give Francis props for just saying like it's not like you were going to kick out of that chokeslam anyway. And that's fair. Like he probably shouldn't have. We didn't need that extra rando ref who we also had never seen before come in and then it's over. Like, dude got kicked in the dick and choke slammed. He wasn't getting up.
Another thing that got me upset was, like you said, Saint Laurent's interference. He's doing it right next to all the guys from Bumaye. You mean to tell me you can't just like try to stop him or move out of the way or push him?
He's a weeble. Just nudge him and he'll topple over.
Like you were literally right next to the guy, like hands reach. I didn't see anything. I'm not allowed to touch the guy and help him. Like, dude, like, come on, man.
That should have been our first sign that they were on payroll.
Yeah, likely.
So me being, I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan of AJ Francis. I definitely am. I'm going to put that out there always.
Man, you're a friend of everybody.
Now, I'm barely a fan of anyone's what you should have said. So AJ, listen, you know what? I'm a fan of damn near anyone that's on some street shit, right? Like anyone that does a street gimmick, I'm with it. I'm a fan. That's the way it works. So AJ Francis, nobody could tell me that AJ Francis, the buildup of him going back and forth with Alex Kane wasn't straight up fire, right? Like when have we ever seen anyone promo to promo be able to out-talk Alex Kane? This felt bigger than what it was because you had two guys who were murdering every single video that was thrown out. So, and he did his thing, and now he's the leader of the.
Well, no, and they use social media to keep the whole feud going before the match. So that's another aspect of social media being used. Like you don't have to like take a break, and like some people like we know they just don't do shit for a couple of weeks, and then they do one little promo and you're like, well, damn, it's been like 3 weeks, nobody's seen you. Now you do this shit. They've been going at it every day on Twitter, going back and forth, throw a little tweet here and there, and keep the interest going. Keep the fans entangled in it.
Yeah, and I'll be the first to admit I am very hard on AJ Francis. He does nothing for me.
Really?
I don't think he's
you hard on AJ Francis? Really?
Yeah. I don't think he's very good in the ring, and I don't think he's very good on the mic.
Good for me.
Whoa!
But he is hustling his ass off, and I will give him props for that. I will mad respect anyone who's putting out the grind. So, like, regardless of what I think of his skills, dude's putting in the work, and I will respect that to no end. And that's what he has been doing for this feud, and this is what he has been doing for MLW.
Listen, Rob K is our TV attorney or something like that. I'm always going to give him his props. But on this blasphemy that you got against AJ Francis, I will not sit here and allow this madness to happen.
Bomaye,
on the mic,
that is quality mic work.
He is murdering it.
Bomaye, he murdered that promo. They put flowers on it. It was dead. It smelled terrible.
Well, at least I'm not the only hater around here.
You know what? These guys have to, you know what? Damn this. Okay. So I'm going to have to try to act like I'm the only, well, I am the only AJ Francis fan up in here. But I got to tend to push away. Like you guys could rep Alex Kane, which is always the big homie, but someone's going to have to play devil's advocate. And I'm going to have to be like the biggest AJ Francis stan of all times and just make him out to be like the next Rock. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, you don't have to do it. He's doing it for himself.
The more I'm going to put this guy in a fucking pedestal.
Oh, Lord. He could
AJ Francis for president. AJ Francis for president. 2024.
The wrestler could say I'm from Queens or Brooklyn or something, and you're already repping them. Don't matter.
All day.
I'm from 125th Street. Have no idea where that is, but Chef will rep me anyways.
Harlem, baby. 125th is Harlem, baby. Let them know.
Yeah,
that's what. Stop playing. That's where the fucking. Whoa, you see? That's where the legendary Apollo was from, across the street from the hood. Come on, stop playing with him. Listen, for everyone in the 125th in Harlem, mad salute, mad love, Queens, y'all know what it is, the Bronx. Keep doing the thing. Boogie down Bronx, Crooklyn, let's get it popping. Deuces.
Deuces.
No